Detective Comics 983, Brian Edward Hill, writing Miguel Madoncha on the art. So this is the first part of the On the Outside. Every time they say the word outside, it's bolded. Yeah, sure, we're not getting an Outsiders book after this. That's not where this is going. Of course not.
Yeah.
Worst kept secret. So this is the start of this arc, and we're obviously introduced to Black Lightning. We're introduced to a mysterious villain for Batman who's got an interesting motivation, or at least an interesting angle that he's playing with Batman, which we'll talk about. So I guess I am curious. What did you think of the first part of the story?
I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah,
I'm not like all in. I don't love it, but I think it's solid.
I like it quite a bit. I think because obviously I've never read anything by Brian Hill before, and I've heard people like him. From what's the Whalestorm book? Michael Cray?
Yeah, I was gonna say Cray.
Yeah. So I've heard good things about his work, but I haven't read anything before myself. So I wasn't sure what his voice sounded like or whatever. Obviously, I read the Hong Kong Fooey crossover issue, but I don't know if that's the best thing to judge a writer's.
No, you don't know how representative that is.
Yeah. But no, I thought he had a good tactic here. I like what he's doing with Batman, because the villain's motivation here is that you're not that scary anymore. Like, you were at first, but you've become such like an icon, and because his whole thing is that he's going after the sidekicks, because as this villain says, they make him weak. Because we have this, because that's quite a dark opening actually. We see this like Bat fanboy essentially, who's been interviewed on TV. He's like a YouTuber who posts vlogs and Batman related things all the time. And we cut to like Duke, the Signal, finding this teenager like tied up and like kidnapped.
No, that's true. I'll be honest. I think some of my biggest issues in the book are these first couple of pages.
Oh, go on.
Especially this first page, opening on such a dialogue-heavy interview. I feel like that may not be the right choice to start a story on that.
Joe, it's funny. I sympathise with what you're saying. And I get it, because I obviously, because I think even I was like, oh, is the whole page going to be this dense? Or the whole book going to be this dense, rather? But at the same time, like, I think about this tactic, because this is something Dark Knight Returns did, was you'd have the news reports and stuff, and that was very dense whenever you got to one of those pages.
And I think that has aged poorly for those parts.
That's fair. But at the same time, like, I think about it, and again, it's a comic book. I shouldn't necessarily use this as a valid comparison. But if a movie starts like this, where it starts with a news report, I'd be, oh, that's a fine way to start. You get out some exposition. You're introducing this new character. You're doing all these things. Ultimately, I don't think it's a big offender. When I think of other books that have these types of pages with the news reports,
it's not the worst. Yeah. But it stood out to me as soon as I opened it. I went, okay, we're doing this.
Yeah, there's only 2 pages of it though in the whole book, I think, though.
There is, and I was glad it was only the one page there at the start, as it was, because I was like, okay.
I think if you are worried about that, I understand why he started with this, because the whole point of the story is the perception in the public of Batman. So the idea that you've got this YouTuber who's kind of neutered him himself, because he's like, he's just a fun topic to talk about on the blogs and stuff.
Yeah.
So it makes sense thematically that this is what he's starting with, and I do like the tease at the end with whoever's watching it, smashes the TV. Like, it's a nice subtle little, like, oh, okay, we've got the angry, mysterious looker. Watching this. I think to alleviate that fears, it does immediately cut to a page that is much bigger panels, very little text. It's just here's just sequential art.
Which ironically has possibly my only art critique of the issue, is so it does the bit at the start of the acrobatic leap with the silhouettes. It's something you've seen in a lot of Nightwing books specifically. I don't like the using the block colours. Whenever I see it, usually it's a bit faded to show it's a transition, like that was the past movement. Here they almost look like Yellow Lantern constructs.
That's fair.
And it really threw me out of it for a minute. I was like, that's not the way this is usually portrayed, and I don't think this worked quite as well.
I mean, I don't really have a problem with it per se. I mean, I agree when you're telling me, it looks like Yellow Lantern constructs. It kind of does. But there was never any like risk of me confusing it.
I think the transparency, just adding a bit of transparency to see through it, fixes the entire issue.
Fixes the entire issue?
No, I mean the issue of this.
The problem.
I should have said the problem.
Okay, right. I was going to say, that's how big this is bothering you.
No. No. But I think that fixes the problem, the transparency. But just having it being a block, it ruins the flow of it a little.
No, that's fair. That's fair. It didn't stick out to me a super amount, but like, I can't really fault that critique.
Also, when did Duke get the Christmas sticks like Nightwing? I really noticed them, in on those panels, on those silhouette ones, where he's got the sticks at the side. I'm like, when did he get those?
Maybe at the end of his mini.
Oh yeah, I forgot that existed, to be honest.
Because we never. I mean, I read the first issue of that, so I mean, I have no idea if he got them in there.
Yeah, I read the first one.
This could be a first though. This could just be no. Now he's got sticks because.
No, it could be, but it just started me. I was like, oh, when did he get those? That's very dick.
But yeah, so the villain blows. This was a trap. He blows him up, and Duke is severely hurt. And he's back at the Wayne Manor in the cave, and he's on the hospital bed. Alfred's patched him up.
And this is where we get some really strong layout work.
Yeah. There's some almost blood vessel looking divides in the page.
It's really it's not neat at all. It's really
messy,
unbalanced, and I think that's what works most about it.
Yeah. Then obviously we're setting up the team, right? Because Jean pops down, and again I love that Jean's just around again, and he's popping up here or there, like it's all over the place now. Great. And Batman's just like, oh yeah, I'm going to put a team together. The League's going to be aware of it. I'm not going to hide it from the League, but it's going to have to be something on. Wait for it. The outside.
Yeah.
The outside of the League. Get it? Outsiders, get it? But yeah, so no. Right. But I like that John also asked about Duke. It's good. It's one of those things where Duke came into existence when Jean was like gone or missing. I mean, I think his mini in DCU was kind of on at the time, but like he's so disconnected from that in that character that it feels kind of nice to like, oh, he's aware of him, and like again, world's all in sync. And of course, we have the ridiculous comic book technology bit where the villain in the shrapnel from the explosion hid data for Batman to find because of course.
Yeah. Can I say how weird it is to see Bruce not wearing the bat suit in the cave? He's wearing the turtleneck, or as Archie would call it, a tactical turtleneck. It was just straight. I don't see him out of costume that often in the Batcave. I feel like how often you see him sat at the computer with the cowl down, but still with the outfit on.
Oh, sure. I feel like I see him in the cave. Not so little that I feel weird about seeing him not dressed in the costume, though.
I feel like it's just been a while since I've seen it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. We cut to Metropolis, and we get introduced to Black Lightning, and he's interviewing someone for a job, explaining just how hard it is being a principal and a teacher, and how you're going to fail, but you have to keep trying. It's kind of just it's an introduction to his character. It's like showing his determination, his attitude, his outlook in life. As we're seeing him save a girl from a villain using his powers and stuff. So it's basically just a nice introductory. Here's who Black Lightning is in a nutshell. If you don't know who it is, here's the explanation. And then we get the news program, and this time it's the mother of the kid who died, and she blames Batman, and she has nothing to say to him. But this time it's all cracked because obviously at the end of the last time the TV that whoever was watching this on has got smashed. And we actually hear the voice at the end, like, I know why. After someone asks, because they mentioned Markovia, small country with rising tensions.
Markovia rising.
Yeah. So, of course, we have the Bruce and Jefferson meeting where he makes the job offer, and there's some fun little bits here. I like the Batman because he notices the formula on the board, and he's like, "Oh, your math's wrong." He's like, "Yeah, well, I'm trying to fix my suit or make it better, but I'm not a physicist. It's not my area." And he makes the offer. He's like, "I don't want someone who is always right. I want someone who knows when he's failed." I like that line. I thought it was a really good line.
Yeah, no, it was good.
But yeah, so the final scene is kind of the big tease for the villain, because Batman's back in Gotham. He's chasing some bad guys from to just rob something or whatever. The police are chasing him as well, and he does his Batman thing. But over this, we hear the recording. It turned out the data that was in the body was a recording from this villain, and basically explaining his whole thing. It's like, oh yeah, the night no longer belongs to you. You have become neutered. Like, you're this popular figure now. And and then he calls him Bruce. I like that because all the panels have like several of these speech bubbles from the recording, but that one, it's just the one. It's just the Bruce. It's like, no, I know who you are. Like, this is more serious than you thought. And yeah, I love how this is shown though, because after he like deals with these bad guys, as he's listening to this through his earpiece, he looks over and he notices like a group of people on the street filming them on their phones, and he doesn't look very happy about it. And he drops a smoke pellet, and it's great. You get the silhouette of Batman in the smoke, like the classic look. You get him like firing the grapple gun outside of the smoke, but what I love about it is the very next panel. You see him come out of the top of the smoke, and you can see him clearly. Almost like, oh yeah, you masked your appearance for a second, but they're still filming you. They can still see you going up through the smoke. The mystique is gone, is kind of his thing. So, no, I thought that was well done.
I think I agree with most of what you're saying. I think that him knowing he's Bruce, I'm like, okay, whatever. That feels like a really just an easy way to make him a threat to me.
Oh sure, yeah. I mean, it's not like the first time we've done that.
No, exactly. So I feel like, I mean, the other stuff's not bad, but I need more before I'm into this villain. Yeah.
Oh, when I was complimenting that, I was more complimenting how it was revealed and how it was laid out. Not so much that I thought that him knowing he's Bruce is excellent on its own.
Yeah. I groaned a little bit at that. I'm like, oh, okay, we're doing it. It's such an easy way of going. Look how much of a threat he is.
Oh, right? Sure. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if the villain himself is a threat per se. I mean, I think the fact that he's already injured Duke, and obviously in the last scene he's going to go after Cass. Although I don't like his chances. Cass is going to wipe the floor with you.
One-on-one with Cass. That's a brave man. No, that's a stupid man.
Unless he's got a lot of tech to back him up. It's not just like a straight one-on-one combat.
Yeah, he has a fancy-looking gun. Yeah, he has got a sword on his back too.
Yeah. So maybe he'll go. It's so much that I think he's a threat. Yeah, although they're doing a decent job of starting getting there. I think it's more this belief that he wants to make Batman better. He thinks the sidekicks are making him weak, and he's lost his mystique. And Batman might actually be like, shit, you know what? He's kind of right. Like, I'm not feared the way I used to be. I think that's an interesting idea to explore.
Yeah, fair enough.
So I like that idea. So I think that's cool. So yeah, we see Cass at the end, and she wants to see Duke because she's like, oh, he's hurt. I want to see him. But
have we seen them interact much?
Not really. I buy that Cass cares though. She's a caring person.
No, that's fair. I'm like, I don't remember seeing them interact once. Yeah. Not really.
I'm glad that Cass is. I mean, it's only been one issue since we ended Tinian's run, but I'm just glad Cass is still a permanent fixture. She's still around.
Yeah.
She's doing things. It's fine. But yeah, and the villain's got like he's almost got like a Mr. Bloom mask on actually. Different colours, but the shape, the symbol on his face is very similar to that. The sort of star.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah. But no. So yeah, good luck fighting Cass.
Yeah, kinda need it.
That's all I'm going to say to that. No, I quite liked it. I think. Yeah, I mean, I think it was very much the setup issue, specifically the Black Lightning stuff. I think he's got a good voice for Black Lightning, but that stuff was basically just setting it up. I think next issue is when he arrives, and given the pace of this, given that we've got this new villain to take care of in this arc, more than ever I'm convinced. No, this is just the setup for the actual team story, because this was sold to us that he gets Black Lightning to put a team with these characters. Given that Duke's out cold, that Cass might be injured after this, or at the very least busy fighting this bad guy, I'm like, no, we're just going to get to the point where the team is just forming by the end of this arc.
Oh, definitely.
So, yeah.
And it'll be like, and they'll announce the Outsiders book just before that last issue, probably.
But that's rate Detective then. So, what do you give it out of 10?
I give it a 7.5. It's pretty good.
I'll go that extra half point and give it a solid 8. I think I'm intrigued. I think he's got a good voice. I'm kind of excited now that he's going to be. Not just the arc, but there's presumably a book coming out of this. I'm into it.
The shock it's going to be if he's not on the Outsiders book.
Oh yeah, then into the Outsiders book, and it's like, here's Scott Lobdell, and like, what?
Oh, no, that's Orlando's new book.
Oh god, don't tell me that.